You want to start with writing your name on the back, today's date, and if you have a sketchbook, a piece of paper, same thing. And what is today's date? The 6th? I think it's the 6th. And yeah, because yesterday was Cinco de Mayo. And then where you are, and I'm going to put ZoomTangle. All right. And when you're done, I want you to take a moment and feel your paper. Look at it, feel it, whether you have a tile, a sketchbook, a blank piece of paper, it doesn't matter. Just take a moment now and appreciate and feel that paper. Notice the edges, the texture, the weight, just to get mindful. And when you're done, just put that down. And we're not going to draw a string today. A lot of times we start off drawing a string with our pencil. But we're going to put that aside and you can use your pen. So this, I use a black Micron 01 fine pen. So, but any, some of you who come to my club use this pen is absolutely fine. It's just a basic fine uniball, but any black pen or any pen you want is fine. So we're going to start off now by drawing a circle in the middle. Not too big, not too small. So think of maybe like a nickel or a quarter. And just focus, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I cannot draw a perfect circle, as you can see. There is no perfection in Zentangle. And imperfections don't even show up. But okay, so now we've got this circle. Now, in this circle, we're going to draw some other circles. And they're going to be different sizes. Some are big, some are small. They can touch or not touch. So let's very slowly now draw these different orbs or circles. Nice and slow. And I just went way too fast. So we're going to slow down. Sometimes I'll say to myself, slow motion. You really want to go nice and slow. You're relaxed. Nice and slow. And don't ask me what today's pattern is called, because it's kind of a no-name pattern, and I will explain later what I mean by that. So I'll let you, don't think about what it's called, just focus on drawing these circles. So if you can see, I'm drawing these smaller circles around any white space that's left. So the next step is we're going to aura the inside of these circles. So an aura is just the same stroke, and we're going to get it nice and close to the edge, and we're going to try to see how many auras we can put in to each circle. Breathing in and out, relaxing. And you don't have to put as many auras as you can in, just whatever feels good to you. There's no right or wrong. In Zentangle, we just do what feels right at the time. So I'm going to put on some music now as we're doing this. It shouldn't take too long. And remember, if you finish before we move on to the next step, just relax. You can even close your eyes until you hear my voice again. And if you don't finish by the time we move on to the next step, then you can always go back to it at any time. So now comes the fun part. Well, it's all fun, but the real cool part. We're going to draw. Now I want you to watch me first because I'm going to give you two options. I'm going to kind of draw these poke leaf shapes, if you know the pattern poke leaf. If you can't draw that pattern, well, actually you can do, yours will look much different than mine, and every time I do it, it will look different. If you can't draw that shape or you don't like it, you can just do a arc like that and then come down like that. So it's almost like a petal. So, or if you want to do any kind of shape you want, it doesn't matter. So what we're going to do, so draw one now, and then right next to it, you will draw another one. Going all the way around. They can be all different sizes. We don't even think about that. We're just thinking about this shape. And then if the end might land on that. So they're kind of touching right from each other. So I want you to get that far first, and then I'm going to show you the next step. So you're going to do one kind of leaf or petal at a time, all until you go all the way around. One layer. Okay, so the next step would be, and if you're not done, that's okay, just look up so you'll see when you're ready. We're going to do the same thing behind here. We're going to do another one in between each petal, as if it's kind of coming out from behind. So what we're doing now is we're laying down not the foundation, but there's still a lot more that's going to happen here. But we are kind of laying down the foundation for the next step. So you want it, so it's really just one other layer. That's all we're doing right now. One other layer. Now remember, you can do whatever you want at any time. This is your time, your artwork. You always follow your own creative intuition. Okay, I'm going to show you the next step. Because once you could do this, after we get the next step down, you're going to be doing it in all of these petals, and I'll put the music on. You have lots of time to just relax into each stroke. So what we're going to do is we're going to aura, just like we did these circles. We're going to aura these shapes on the inside, just tracing right along. And we're going to keep doing that. Nice and slow and relaxed. Breathing in and out. And you're going to do this for every petal. If you want, remember, if you have another idea, don't fight it, follow it. And once we do that, we're going to do some embellishments in here that I'll show you. But right now, this will be our nice meditative Zentangle, and start oraing on the inside. Remember, you can chat with me if you have a question or you need to tell me something like the music's too soft or too loud, or just always use the chat. Don't unmute yourself until the class is over or until I tell you. I'm only saying that because we had some extra people come on after all that. So I'm glad you're all here. I'm going to stop talking and just relax. Okay. So now I'm going to show you some suggestions on how to embellish this a little bit. And by the way, there was a pattern that I knew it looked like this. It's one of my favorite patterns, and it just slipped my mind, but it came back to me as we were relaxing. And the pattern that is very close to this is Cyme, C-Y-M-E. I'll write it down here. It's an original Zentangle pattern. Very, very beautiful. A lot of fun to work with. Okay, so now I'm going to show you several different things, very simple. So what I like to do is I like to do one embellishment per kind of ring in each leaf. So one could be just, and I'll zoom in a little bit here. Where's my zoom? So I might just choose this ring right here. I don't think too much about it. And these are just stripes. So I'm just going to do a little bit of each one to show you some options, and then you can decide, and you might come up with other ones. So what I'm going to do with this is I'll follow all the way around with those stripes. So that's one embellishment. Another one, if I choose one, let's say here, and it doesn't matter which ring, I'm going to put in some orbs that I trace along the sides and they touch. So that would be another, and again, I will go all the way around until that one's finished. Another embellishment would be hugging C's. So they start with like a C. I think I'm going to use the outside of this one. And you're kind of hugging. So you're drawing along the edge and just drawing this little arc. It's really like an arc stripe rather than a straight line. That's really all it is. Just think about just C's, the letter C hugging. So that's one that I would do all the way around. Now, getting a little bit more fancier, here's another. These are all suggestions. Again, you might come up with other ones. And you can have certainly put in more than just one ring. You might want to take them, but I'm going to show you something in a minute too before. So that would be another. I'll keep going, and then one more, two more I'll show you. One would be just dots, and when you do dots, each one is on purpose. Very slowly. Don't just go dot dot dot, dot dot. So nice and slow, each one. And then one more would be, we've done this many times. One of my favorite things to do is to give it some color in with that black with a white highlight. I just love that look. Oops, sorry. There we go. And then I would do the same on that side. Now, what's interesting is I had a totally different plan for you today, for class today. And I'm just going to unzoom here. I'm just going to actually before I go on, I'm just going to show you a little bit of what I practiced before, just a little. We'll kind of ignore those. But so here's what happened. I had a class planned for you today, and I think I'm going to save it for the Zoom 3 class that we're starting. But I opened up today's paper, the Village's Daily Sun. No, yeah, and inside that paper was the Village's magazine, or one of those Village's magazines. And inside that magazine was this. And it was a coloring page. So some of you may have seen it who live in the villages. Not all of you live in the villages. But so this was there, and it was a coloring page. And I thought, you know what? Wouldn't it be great if I showed everyone today how to do this so they can create their own coloring page, and they can tell all your friends that the coloring page that was in the paper, that you were able to draw that. Isn't that cool? And you can see the circles. We did this a little bit smaller. So this was what I was inspired by to do. So that was it. So you made your own coloring book or page. Now, if you're really into color, you can use this as, you can just go ahead and color into it. And then when we're done with our embellishments, or you do whatever you're doing, I'll then show you one other thing that we can do with this. But I'm going to put on the music now. Just enjoy, don't think about it, just relax, do what feels nice to you. Okay, so keep doing what you're doing. Keep drawing, keep relaxing. And so what I've started to do is I put in even another layer. So if, if that's an option, if you've already done one layer in each, or one kind of ring, you might want to add in another one of an embellishment, something different or the same. And for those of you who are ready to move on, I'm going to just show you one last thing you can do. Of course, you might have already come up with a different idea. But what you can do is these little fescues. And this is usually what you want to do this when you're all done. You know, this would be kind of the last thing you do if you feel like you'd like to add a little something. And you can do those throughout. Just a fun thing to do. We will be shading soon. Oh, I have a chat. Let me see what that is. Hi. Hello. I think that's Michaela, right? even though it says Raymond and Joyce. Nice to have you here. Okay, so what I'd like us to do right now is take a little body break. So maybe just take a break from drawing, cap your pens, shake out your hands, your wrists, your shoulders, wiggle your butt, get up and stretch if you want to. I'm not going to do a whole minute break like I've done in the past, but just kind of a quick little shake it out, relax, because I don't want you to get too stiff. We've been sitting a lot these days. And it's your choice. You can keep tangling if you want, but it's a good idea to kind of just shake it off a little bit, move your body, do some neck rolls, stretches. And I'm going to put the music on again so you can keep doing what you're doing. And then I would say in about maybe 5 minutes, I think that'll be enough time, we'll start to do our shading. So I hope you're all feeling relaxed. Keep feeling relaxed. Keep doing what you're doing. And before we start to shade, I think while some of you are still drawing and some of you are not, I'd like to maybe open it up for questions or comments at this time, if you have any. And I think what I'm going to do is stop. I can edit it out. Yeah, I'm not going to stop the recording. So yeah, so if you would like to unmute yourself if you have a question or a comment. Okay, good. Everyone's content, hopefully, and relaxed. All right, so it's kind of hard to see with this lighting from my end, but you could see what I'm doing. Looks a lot different in person. So then, like I said, see, like a little bit here where it comes behind, like a rule of thumb in Zentangle anyways, is to shade kind of where it goes underneath, where you see something going underneath. So I kind of like that. Not rule of thumb, there's no rules, but kind of a technique, a nice little technique. I like that. But you can also use it as coloring in. So I might want to I could put a little bit maybe right in here in one of these rings. And these, again, this is options, just ideas. So just do what feels good to you right now. Another place that I'm going to shade is, since I have this outer layer that I did, I'm going to put just a little bit right on the edge of that one, just a little bit. Sometimes you can just use what's left on your tortillon to kind of dab some areas. Whatever you drew today, however you're shading, it's all meant to be when I teach, it's all suggestion. The teaching just helps you not to think about anything. You can just be inspired by your own intuition. And when you're done, and you don't have to finish yet, we still have time, but when you're done, you want to sign your artwork. And I just have this little pet peeve. I always want to be right side up, even though there's no right side up in Zentangle, but I have this thing, maybe it's an OCD thing, I don't know, but I like, however I started, I like to finish that way. So, but I always turn it over to see my right side up is this. Anyways, doesn't matter. So I sign my tiles with my initials, JR, but you can sign them any way you like. It's your chalk, it's your signature. You can write out your whole name, your initials. You can make a design with your initials or your name. You can use the first letter of your first name, whatever you want to do to designate it's your masterpiece.